Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about watercress. And we're talking about this one today because the inspiration for it aligns with this week's episode. I received an email with a link to an article, and in the email was only the headline. It said, "Experts say this is the healthiest vegetable on the planet." And so they captured me. I clicked. I needed to know what the vegetable was. It was watercress. And I put it on my list for us to talk about on Nutrition Nugget. And then when we were talking about this week's topic of headlines and nutrition news, I thought, okay, this is perfect. So when I clicked to the article, it said, and I'm just going to read this for a second. It said, agriculture and nutrition experts have recently identified the healthiest vegetable on earth. The CDC assigns nutrition density scores to produce based on their concentration of essential vitamins and minerals. Usual suspects like spinach, chard, and beet greens all have scores ranging in the 80s, but the only vegetable to earn a perfect score of 100 is watercress. So now, admittedly, it's interesting, right? So I'm like, let me click that link from the CDC. I want to know more. I'm going to dig a little bit. I'm going to dig a little bit, not just into what watercress gives us, but also that CDC ranking. So I went to that CDC link. Guess what year this was from?
1930.
That would have been dramatic. It was from 2014.
Okay.
So not particularly recent, which means a couple things to me. One, it means we want to take this with a grain of salt because I would venture to say that even in the last almost 10 years, the quality of our food is not the same. And my spidey sense is a little heightened to say, why now? Why are we digging up something that's almost 10 years old and writing this headline? Like as if it's brand new information, right? So yes, I could have gone down that rabbit hole, but for the sake of time in my life, I decided it wasn't important. I could just look at watercress, right? So that's what we did. So first of all, if you're not sure what it is, you've probably seen it and just not known the name of it. It's often in salads that look like different types of grasses and stuff. So it's not the one that looks like a tumbleweed. It's the other one. It's the one that's like long green stem with like a smaller round leaf. And you can eat the whole thing. It has like a bit of like a peppery flavor. It's in the same family as kale and cabbage and Brussels sprouts. So as we start to look at all this stuff, you're going to see that we've talked about a lot of these things as we've talked about other cruciferous vegetables, right? Now, a quick note on that CDC ranking. They do the ranking based on nutrient density. So it's an evaluation of the ratio of nutrients to calories. So being that watercress has quite a few vitamins and minerals and antioxidants with relatively few calories, we can see how it got to this ranking of 100. So like I often say, grains are somewhat inefficient where it requires a lot of volume of the grain to get to the doses of the nutrients that we're looking for. This is the opposite, right? Vegetables and fruit, and now in particular watercress, are highly efficient, right? Okay, so what do we get from watercress? 1 cup of watercress is only 4 calories. 0.8 grams of protein, 0.4 grams of carbs, half of which, so 0.2 grams, is fiber. Then it has a tremendous amount of vitamin K, like 106% of the reference daily intake. Now, again, RDI is not the be-all, end-all, but it just helps us put it in perspective of how much vitamin K we're getting there. It's also a good source of vitamins A and C. It has a bit of calcium and manganese. And then smaller amounts of vitamin E, thiamine, riboflavin, B6, folate, pantothenic acid. So those are all your like B vitamins. Then magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, and copper. So with the vitamin K and the minerals, we think of support for bone health, which is often not the first thing people think of here. So I wanted to point it out. Vitamin K is a component of what's called osteocalcin, which is a protein that makes up healthy bone tissue. It can also help regulate bone turnover. We actually have an episode coming up later this year all about bone density and rethinking bone density. So keep an eye on that one. But vitamin K, incredibly important here. Vitamin K is also one of your fat-soluble vitamins. So a lot of times it's overlooked. There's also, vitamin K has a lot to do with blood thinning or blood clotting, things like that. Okay, watercress also gives us antioxidants. So there's a study that looked at the antioxidants in 12 different cruciferous vegetables. Watercress had 40 unique flavonoids. And in the study, the watercress outperformed the other cruciferous vegetables reviewed in terms of the total amount of phenols. So phenols are like the phytochemicals in the food that help to neutralize free radicals. Now, if you've listened before, we've talked about free radicals and antioxidants many times. And we think about this phenols and antioxidants fighting free radicals as like the biology of what's happening in the body when we're fighting inflammation, which means across the board, reduced risk of disease, right? You'll hear claims about cancer prevention with this food, and that's because of the antioxidants. I will say the studies on this looked more at extracts of the food. So again, eating a little bit of the vegetable probably isn't getting us to a therapeutic dose, but it's interesting, right? And similar to other cruciferous vegetables, watercress contains glucosinolates. When you cut the vegetable, or even when you chew it, it turns the glucosinolates into the active forms called isothiocyanates, like sulforaphane, which we've talked about sulforaphane before with other cruciferous vegetables. So you can go back to, we talked about it with asparagus, we talked about it with cauliflower, so you've got those. Similarly, the antioxidant properties, so we see research connecting watercress with heart health benefits. Watercress has beta-carotene, zeaxanthin, and lutein. So those are all antioxidants that we've talked about before with other nutrition nuggets. And we see research there with heart disease, blood pressure, and eye health too is another one that we think of for those. Also connected to the heart health thing, watercress gives us dietary nitrates. We have a nutrition nugget on nitrates. So dietary nitrates from vegetables, right? It supports blood vessel health and can increase nitric oxide in your blood, so increased oxygen. Now we connect not just to heart health, but also physical performance, like a workout or an athletic endeavor. And then back to, even just the antioxidants, like the zeaxanthin and the beta-carotene and the lutein, but also vitamin C and vitamin A, we get eye health support and immune support. So for me, I think one of the big things about watercress is just how easy it is to add in, right? You could eat it raw, or you can, steam it. I wouldn't cook it to smithereens, but you could lightly steam it. One of my favorite things to do with greens in general, and you can do this with watercress, is certainly use it raw, add it to any salad mix, or whatever you're making for your meal, put a bed of the greens on the plate, and then put your hot items from the meal directly on top of it. Your hot food will lightly cook the greens just from that heat, but not overcook it. Like, I don't love cooked spinach, but I could do this with spinach, and it's great. I'll do it with arugula too. So watercress would be awesome. It has so much flavor too. That peppery flavor adds a lot. You could also add it, like I said, add it to any mix of greens that you have. Throw it in some soup. Use it anywhere you use lettuce. So even, think about lettuce on a sandwich. You could swap iceberg for watercress on a sandwich. Not only would you really ante up on the nutrition because iceberg doesn't really offer us much, but water. So the watercress certainly gives us way more nutrition and a ton of flavor. So I would say pick up a bunch on your next grocery run. Of course, quality matters. So if it were me, I'm going to go organic. And if I can, even local and organic. And then I do have to go back to that headline for a second, right? The headline that put the veggie on my radar. Is it the healthiest vegetable in the world? I don't know. I don't know that I'd make that claim because it's such an extreme claim that it has implications that if we eat this, we may not need other things. And I think it's the kind of thing that often makes people go all in on one thing, which may not serve most people in the long run. So sure, add it in, make watercress part of the variety you eat and enjoy, and see how you feel. Christine, what do you want to add?
It sounds yummy. I'm going shopping in the morning, so I will be buying my watercress. And I love the eye health because I think people, they take it for granted that, your eyeballs will always be there, and then as you reach a certain age, and things get a little blurry, it's nice to know that there's something you can do to fix it or prevent.
Absolutely. And again, it's looking at that headline and saying, okay, what does my spidey sense tell me? Right? What does my common sense tell me? Add the watercress in. Doesn't need to be the only vegetable I eat.
If you need a room full of something to make it a therapeutic dose, then you're not talking practical either. So that may be the case here.
Absolutely. Excellent point. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I am at Jen Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Consider this your personal invitation. Send a message wherever is convenient for you. I want to hear your key takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Christine, again, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's been fun. Thanks, Jen.
Absolutely. Of course, if you're not already a member, join our membership by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideoffries to show your support for this podcast and this community, but most importantly, truly support your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the fig and arugula salad and your last chance for your quarterly live one-on-one. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.